Hey guys, what's going on? Steven back again, and I'm back with another Walking Dead video from George Drake. So I'm doing another one of his what if videos, what if this character survived, what if Carl survived, like he should have. What if Glenn survived, how would the story have played out? So this one here is what if Merle Dixon survived? If Merle lived in The Walking Dead season 11. That would be interesting. I don't know. We kind of had a little bit of a redemption arc with him at the end. He did kidnap Michonne, but then she kind of talked him down. He set her free, and then he went off on his own to try to kill the governor, so I don't know if that was just a suicide thing, because he was drinking right before. I don't know. We didn't get a lot of time with him. We got a decent amount. We saw him in, one episode in season 1, then nothing for the rest of that season, nothing in season 2. I think we saw him in, the second half of season 3, and then the first half of season 4, and that was it. So not really a whole lot of time with him. So I don't know. I mean, he was kind of coming around a little bit, I'm here for my brother and stuff like that. And what was Michonne saying? Where is family and stuff like that? I don't know, it's been a long time since I've seen, that season and stuff like that. But, she was talking him down. Daryl wants to be here. He's with us. He's, part of us and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't really know what Merle would have done. I mean, I don't even know what he would have done encountering Negan, I don't know if he would have switched sides, or I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, maybe he would have stayed loyal and stuff like that, after Dwight shot Daryl, and then, the lineup, if he was there or not, maybe that would have kept him on that side. I have no idea. Merle's kind of a wild card, so you never know. Alright, so anyways, let's get on to the video and see what he says about Merle, what he possibly could have done all the way to season 11. So, here we go.
Little mouse running around, scared of her own shadow. Well, you don't seem scared of nothing anymore.
I'm not.
You're a late bloomer.
Maybe you are too.
That would be interesting too.
In The Walking Dead,
Merle seeing Carol.
Dixon's story ended with him letting Michonne go and dying when attempting to defeat the governor. The rest of the group knew of his sacrifice, but he didn't get to live past it. The great thing about this character that I think is a bit misunderstood, although he said all this bad stuff and he wasn't a nice person, in the end he proved that he wasn't a bad one either. With all that happened behind the scenes and how it changed, what was really meant to happen with him? With season 2 of the Daryl Dixon show coming up, what better time to see what it would have been like if he survived? How different would
what would
Daryl's
have
life be
Frank Darabont done with him?
In today's video, we're going to answer the question of what if Merle Dixon survived? To remind you how he died, Andrew had arranged a meeting between Rick and the governor, and this meeting ended with the governor saying to him the only way they don't attack the prison is if they give him Michonne. They leave, and Rick considers it, but in the end, when he of course decides he's not doing it, they find out Michonne's missing anyway, because Merle has already taken her. On the car ride
because
there,
he went to Merle first.
He drives straight to the governor. The real reason he's going there is to kill him. He takes out a few of them, but eventually is beaten by the governor and shot. Daryl later finds him reanimated. So, we need to save Merle from this scene. This still happens. After Daryl sees Michonne, he catches up to Merle, driving slowly to bring the walkers with him to the governor. He gets in, and as the governor's men have already seen them, they both have to fight them. They take out a few. Merle is still overcome, but with Daryl now laying down fire, the governor and his men grab Merle, chuck him in their truck, and go back to Woodbury.
I have to say I was impressed.
Interesting.
The governor beats him and puts him in the same room as Milton and Andrea.
Oh.
He throws him in the corner of the room and Milton in the other. Merle, tied up, passes out. While Andrea is buckled into a chair, the governor tells Milton to go and get some tools behind her. When he does, he drops them, leaving a pair of pliers hidden behind her chair.
Okay,
He
so
then
still
tells
kind of plays
Milton
out
to
a little bit
kill
of the
Andrea.
same.
He tries swinging on the governor, but he just turns it back on him. Even though Milton is now fading away, he says to Andrea,
I left some pliers on the floor behind you. If you can drag your right foot back, you can get them.
Milton turns, but we don't see what happens yet. After the group proceed with their plan to flee the prison but have some stay behind to scare them off, the governor and his men flee. They later find the governor gone and all of his men dead. Karen managed to hide, and she tells them that the governor killed them all. They head to Woodbury,
and then they go back to
get
Woodbury.
Andrea and Merle. They get in and run over to Andrea. While they stand over her, they keep looking back at Merle with his used blade. It's revealed that Andrea didn't get herself free in time, but Merle woke up and took out Walker Milton, but it was too late. Not only do they now know that he was essentially going to sacrifice himself for Michonne, but actually cares when a member of the group dies, and he feels he could have done something about it. They trust him a bit more now and know that he really does care, which is important for them to go forward with him in the group.
I like where this
They
is
head
kind of
back to
going.
the prison.
And how do you explain letting me get away?
Must have been seduced by your sterling personality.
There is a 6-month time jump. They've built more of a life at the prison. They farm and grow crops.
Ooh, what's going on here?
When the sickness hits the prison, the council has a meeting to discuss it. They hear Karen coughing in the hallway. They go out to tell her about it. They all notice him joking about it, but equally as moody and hostile. They're interrupted when Maggie comes over shouting that some of the fence panels are falling down because of too many walkers. Merle catches Rick looking over to the pig hut, knowing what he's about to
And then he helps
Get over
Rick.
the truck. I know what to do.
Cold as ice, Officer Friendly.
They use the pigs to spread the walkers out. The next day, they find out that someone has burned Karen and David.
So would this have been
Darryl,
Merle's
Carol,
doing?
and Merle all stand with Tyrese as he explains how he found them. Merle tells Tyrese to step back when he grabs Darryl, and
Oh,
Tyrese
okay.
immediately accuses him because of all the joking he's been doing. Rick
Oh.
then finds out that Carol was the one to do it, and
Okay,
tells
so
her to
Carol
leave
still
the
does it.
prison.
Okay.
Waited till we got back. Till Tyrese got back.
How could I handle that?
Hey, she killed 2 of our own. She couldn't be here. She's gonna be all right. She's a survivor. So saying that like you
Okay,
don't
so
believe it.
Carol still kills them, and Carol still leaves.
Just when things are getting better, the governor confronts them at the prison. He doesn't advise Rick to go out there, but he does. He kills Herschel, they fight, the prison is destroyed, then
Okay.
he kills the governor and they all scatter.
Okay,
I don't
so
think
it still
Merle
all
would have
plays
left
out the
prison
same.
with anyone else but Darryl. And I think this makes Darryl and Beth's episodes that much more interesting.
I need a drink. No, I mean a real drink.
Daryl, Merle, and Beth.
This is too good.
Because they've lost the prison, and as far as they know, everyone at the prison, Darryl would sort of fade back into being that grouchy, snappy
Okay, that'd be kind of interesting. Daryl, Merle, and Beth all together after the prison. Could have got some really interesting backstory, especially in this episode right here. You know, life with the Dixons. Coming in 2026. But yeah, this could have been a really interesting episode. Merle, Daryl, and Beth all together in a, kind of similar house.
version of himself. At this point, he hadn't been since season 2. With Merle there, he'd be feeling even more conflicted.
Yeah, it's a serious piggyback. Jump up.
Is that what your new friends taught you?
You're having you look.
They stop off at a house, but when outnumbered by walkers, Beth is taken by members of the Grady Memorial Hospital. Darryl and Merle are both picked up by the claimers.
Why hurt
Ooh.
yourself when you can hurt other people? Ain't nothing sadder than an outdoor cat thinks he's an indoor cat.
Is Merle written all over it. The claimers are one big enabler for his old ways. When Rick kills one of their friends, Lou, Merle sees him run off, but doesn't say anything. He thinks this spares him, but of course they later find them. And when Darryl comes out, he sees that Merle is just standing there. "You knew," he says to Merle,
You knew.
as he looks to the ground, frozen and ashamed. Darryl says to Joe to take him if he wants revenge. Merle tries to stop him. Joe sees this and orders for both of them to get beat. It's so cool to think of Merle seeing Rick kill Joe, and just overall
That
this
would
version
actually
of
be
Rick.
very
They head to
cool.
Terminus.
They're gonna feel pretty still.
That would have been very cool. Can you just imagine Merle seeing Rick in that savage moment, just, you know, just taking a chunk right out of his neck? Like, yeah, officer friendly my ass. That would have been something to see. That would have been something for Merle to see. And then, of course, when he goes over to the other guy who's holding Carl and stuff like that, and just starts, you know, just stabbing him, and then you see him like stick him in the gut, and you see the knife just being pulled up, like, that would have been that would have been a shock for Merle to see. Like, damn, you are cold as ice, Officer Friendly. You are colder than ice. You are, I don't know, freezing.
When they find out. Find out what?
They're fucking with the wrong people.
They're screwing with the wrong people.
Ah.
They escape, and Merle sees that Carol was the one to help them. He's appreciative and nuts towards her, but still low-key bitter that he was the one that was blamed. Of course, in this time that they were at Terminus, Carol has said to Tyrese it was her, and he forgives her, and he later apologizes to Merle.
Besides, I already made you a promise.
Oh,
Instead
this
of
scene
Michonne
too.
here, I'm gonna have Merle, because I think it makes way more sense. All of the other characters there were going through some kind of turmoil, and taking something out on the termites. Not to say Michonne had nothing in her life to be doing that with, but it makes so much more sense with Merle, with him having that frustration of always being the bad guy being blamed, and his guilt of being with the claimers and freezing. Abraham wants a small group to leave with him to take Eugene to Washington. Merle, of course, wants to stay and wait for Daryl, who just before this went and drove off with Carol when they see the car with the cross on the back, knowing it's going to lead them to Beth. I think it would be out of character for him to care too much about that stuff with Eugene, especially over waiting for Daryl. Daryl comes back, but with Noah, and reveals that Carol has been taken. As they're devising a plan to get them back, Merle is impressed that Rick wants to do the more brutal plan, but even more surprised that Daryl joins Tyrese in trying to do the more peaceful option. They decide to do the trade-off, and it works at first, but Beth gets herself killed. I think Merle would be upset by it. Again, not breaking down. Something I love about this scene is each actor is playing their character really well.
Because I'm sure
you
he'd
know,
be
some of them
affected
didn't
seeing
even know
Daryl
Beth. Merle would be
being
walking out of this
affected by
hospital sad.
Beth's death.
After Beth and then Tyrese die, they all got into this low point. Merle sort of not even talking and genuinely sad. And sad for Daryl. As soon as they get to Alexandria, Merle doesn't fit in. Him and Daryl both become outcasts again. And more drama is caused in Alexandria when meds keep going missing. In the season 6 premiere, following Rick's plan to remove this big herd from the area, Merle joins Daryl on a bike. The wolves attack Alexandria and crash a truck into the watchtower, attracting walkers from the herd.
Okay, so that
Despite
still
the
plays out
others
the same.
disagreeing, Daryl decides he should head back to help, leaving Abraham and Sasha to stick to their part of the plan. A group of saviors attack them, leading to them all being dispersed, and runs into Dwight, Sherry and Tina.
Ooh, okay.
After Tina dies, he ends up helping and sparing them, only to have them take his bike. This would be one of the biggest regrets Daryl ever had. He turns round to see Merle staring at him, knowing he's just lost his bike because he was being too nice. Merle says get on his bike, but Daryl says no look, and they both uncover a fuel truck. They pick up Abraham and Sasha. They are stopped on the road by more saviors.
Ooh.
Your property now belongs
To Negan.
And all make it back to Alexandria just in time to save Glenn.
I think it still would have been those two.
How amazing is that?
Or actually, if the roles were, well, no, I shouldn't say the roles reversed, but that would be kind of interesting if up on that ledge where Abraham and Sasha, you know, were shooting down to save Glenn. That'd be interesting if it was Merle. After everything Merle did to Glenn previously, that'd be like a little interesting little twist, you know? Like, you know, hey, sorry for capturing you, you know, back in season 3 and stuff like that and beating the shit out of you. Here I am, a couple of seasons later now, saved you, you know? Glenn would be a good voice of reason for Merle.
Appreciate it, pal.
They all clear the herd out of
I miss
Alexandria.
Abe.
They meet Jesus and he connects them to Hilltop and hear about the Saviors. They agree to take out what they think is the only outpost, another one of their big mistakes.
And if you don't wait...
This would actually be pretty cool.
Daryl says he wants to fix it, Merle encouraging this rage he has. They both leave while Glenn, Michonne and Rosita quickly follow after to stop them. Rosita ends up joining them and Glenn and Michonne are captured on the way back. Then they're all captured. When Maggie starts having complications, a group gets in the RV to take her to Hilltop, but they're stopped and reunited with the
Now
rest of
does
the
Merle
group
go
and
with
meet
them?
Negan.
Hi, I'm Negan.
As Negan walks around, making comments about the characters, he says Merle is cool and tough for having one hand, just like he did to Rick in the comics.
Oh, okay,
Abraham
so Merle
and
would be there in the
are
lineup.
both showing they're not scared. But when Negan mentions the trouble that Daryl has caused, and that he's already shot, Merle thinks if he keeps this tough act up, Daryl could be finished off. So he stops kneeling up and backs down a bit, but Abraham keeps it up.
Right,
So he's
because
chosen
Daryl punches
When
Negan.
Negan taunts Rosita, Daryl lashes out, and as
Yeah,
the Saviors
what
grab
would he
him,
do then?
Merle gets up to hold him back. Rick and Merle both do what he says. Now, this tells Negan that he can easily put him under his boot. Because of him lashing out, Negan kills Glenn. As they're leaving, Merle looks over at Glenn, actually sad. I think it's really important to know that back then, he didn't actually ever want Glenn or Maggie to die. He took out a lot of anger on Glenn because of the rooftop incident, but he didn't actually like doing what he did. You can visibly see that he didn't even like that the governor was the one going to interrogate Maggie, because he knew what it would entail with him. He didn't like that.
I was just about to go talk to her next.
I'll take care of it.
Oh yeah, look at his facial expressions there.
And so especially after being with the group for even longer, he's upset about
That would
having...
also be interesting too if, you know, with Negan killing Glenn and stuff like that, and then just imagine back, you know, during No Way Out, if, you know, like I was saying earlier, instead of Abe and Sasha being up there, it was Merle who was the one who, you know, saved Glenn at the last moment and stuff. That would have been very interesting. Like, hey, I just saved him, and now all of a sudden, his head's all jelly. You know, that would be...
to these two.
That would be interesting.
Extremely sad and worried for Daryl when he's taken. Sasha and Maggie go to Hilltop while Merle goes back with the rest to Alexandria. A couple days later, Merle sneaks out and jumps on one of the trucks, going from Hilltop to the Sanctuary. He wants to break Daryl out. What we're seeing here is a very similar outburst to when he was going to go and recklessly lunge at the governor. He shoots one of the Saviors and says he just wants Daryl as he's tackled to the ground.
Let me go!
Negan
I like the
walks
editing.
over, makes a comment about his hand again, and turns to Daryl, showing Merle that he works for him.
How's the job going, Daryl? It'd be tough with one arm.
He shows him his methods.
I ain't gonna beg.
Okay, so instead of it being
And at the end of the episode,
Carl, it would be
when he asks
Merle.
he says Negan. Him being problematic again and drifting away at Alexandria was all a setup, was all foreshadowing him joining the Saviors. He says to himself and he says to Dwight he's at the Sanctuary for Daryl and to watch over him.
I'm here for my brother.
But it's just to convince himself and others that that's the reason. But even he knows that he's in there because they're the winning side. And for once, he's not an outcast. All those tests Negan put Daryl through, Merle failed. Negan goes back to Alexandria to tell Rick about his new recruit and punish them for even letting it happen in the first place. While Merle rushes to Daryl's
Right, 'cause he wouldn't
cell
have
to
sympathy
talk to
like he
him
did
and
for
try
Carl.
to explain why he took Negan's offer, but Daryl doesn't reply. Merle, with tears in his eyes, says we can't beat them as he looks around the small room that he's in. The Polaroid of Glenn on the floor, the dog food. Daryl doesn't budge. He walks away and later finds Fat Joey killed and a bike stolen. Daryl has escaped to Hilltop. Meanwhile, Negan kills Spencer and Olivia is killed. When Rosita tries to shoot him, Eugene admits to making the bullet, so Negan takes Eugene. Eugene later joins Merle on the Sanctuary steps.
Good afternoon.
After Sasha breaks into the Sanctuary and tells Rosita to go, she runs into Dwight, where he says he wants to help them take down Negan. Daryl tells him to let Merle in when helping them, but when he tells him, he's surprisingly in denial of it, says it's not smart, and he won't tell Negan, but at this point Merle thinks the answer is for Alexandria to nil. In the season 7 finale, when they arrive, you'd get Rick and Daryl looking at Merle and Eugene on the other side of the fence.
Ooh,
How
that
cool
would be
is
interesting.
that? He's on the other side again.
Hello?
After Sasha is revealed to have done herself, the Saviours all fall back to the Sanctuary. In the season 8
Merle
premiere,
flips.
while the Saviours are having a meeting, Rick and the group arrive to the Sanctuary to start their plan.
Ain't no way.
Should we get our people out there? Line them up, light them up.
They fill the Sanctuary with walkers. Negan is stuck in an RV with Gabriel.
Okay, so
while
that still
all the
plays
other
out the
Saviours
same.
are stuck inside, deciding how to deal with the herd. When Negan and Gabriel return from the RV, they have another meeting, and that's where the three catch on to each other. Later, the three meet in Dwight's room, where Dwight tries to talk sense into them, mentions Glenn. He doesn't say much, but you can tell he did a good job of reminding Merle. Eugene says he's working for Negan now, as he just wants the safety. He ignores Dwight, saying he should stand down and let it happen.
What cranks my shaft is being safe.
Eugene makes bullets, allowing the Saviours to
Eugene.
take out the herd and distract them with music. They escape and confront, then destroy Alexandria. Carl reveals he's bitten and dies. But I say this in all my what
Okay,
if
so
videos,
Carl still
unless
dies.
it does directly affect it. Merle being alive wouldn't change this. He can't just make it the Merle show now because he's alive. After proving
Yeah,
their
that's
loyalty
true.
and dismissing, helping Gabriel and Dr. Carlson attempt to leave, Negan sends Eugene to the machine shop to make bullets and Merle to defend the place. That sounds really vague, but Negan called it that in the show.
Let's set you up at that machine shop that you told me about.
While they're both staying at this machine shop, Merle uses the materials and welding to make a more versatile handle for his metal arm, so they can not only make
That'd be
bullets, but
kinda
a lot of
cool.
guns with it. When Simon tries to plot with Dwight to overthrow Negan, Dwight tells him, so of course Negan wins the fight over Simon, weirdly. But then Laura tells Negan that Dwight's working with them, so gets imprisoned. Thanks to Gabriel making 40 ammunition, Eugene proceeds with his bullet plan and he tells Merle. However, unfortunately there's a twist. Simon knew of Eugene's plan and assured that half of the bullets were normal. Merle is nowhere to be seen. Because of his disappearance, Negan suspects that he might have had something to do with Gabriel and Dr. Carson nearly escaping.
okay.
In the season 8 finale, the
So
group
things will get
arrive
interesting.
when Negan wants them. Negan turns to Eugene and says, "Where is that redneck nut job?"
Hey! You ought to be more polite to a man with a gun. What's the matter, Darlene?
Merle up on a perch with a sniper rifle.
Now!
He takes out all the Saviours with normal bullets that otherwise would have killed Rick's group. It's
That'd be
revealed that
pretty
before
cool.
Simon died, he told Merle that he knew about the bullets, not knowing that it'd switch, while a much smaller amount than in the show explode. Season 8 ends with Rick beating Negan and sparing him, and
Okay,
two
so that
very
still plays out the
satisfyingly
same.
redeemed characters. Dwight bleeds for fear. A year and a half passes. Merle helps with the sanctuary and the bridge. Merle is still erratic. He causes a lot of trouble still. He starts fights with the Saviours regularly, constantly making sure the
Okay,
sanctuary
I mean, I
isn't
can see him doing
chaotic.
that.
In the show, Eugene actually mentioned in the season 9 premiere that some Saviours would look at him badly for betraying Negan.
All was well in your absence, other than a certain cabal of saviors slinging me some serious stink out.
So Merle would definitely get the same treatment. Difference with him is he would start fights because of it.
I found him.
Oh, and then the bridge.
Merle is among the characters that try to save Rick. Daryl immediately starts looking for Rick. He doesn't go back home, he just stays out. Over the years, he tries getting Daryl to come back. Says he liked Officer Friendly, but Daryl says he can't come back. He constantly reminds Daryl that it's not his fault and that he's still here. The only thing Daryl says is, you can help or you can go back home. There is a 6-year time jump. Merle would try many times throughout the years. When Judith brings Magna's group in, Michonne offers to take them to Hilltop as they may be accepted
Merle
in
and
there.
Judith.
Michonne wants Sadiq and Merle to join
That'd
her,
be
which is
interesting
amazing.
interaction.
I think, Season 3. When they get to Hilltop, Tara tells Michonne that Aaron and Jesus found Rosita outside the walls yesterday, and Eugene is still missing. So Daryl, Aaron and Jesus went out to go and find him. So of course Michonne and Merle head out to help. They find them outnumbered by walkers in a graveyard.
Oh, the
Get the gate
Whisperers.
open, and just seconds after, Jesus is killed by the first Whisperer. They take out the other incoming Whisperers, and Merle calls Daryl and Michonne over. He says to Michonne, "This is right up your street," and shows them the stitching of the mask, because he knows about her blending in with the two walkers.
Oh,
Merle
right,
follows
right.
Daryl down to the cellar as they both interrogate Lydia. This is where we find out her backstory, and then Alpha arrives at Hilltop to get her back. Daryl says he's going down there to talk to her. Merle tries to discourage him and says we should just give them the girl.
She ain't right in the head.
But he still goes down without her, tells Merle to stay here.
I love these
and he
edits.
watches from the gates. He ends up having to give Lydia to Alpha because they have Alden and Luke. When Daryl comes back in, Merle asks what he was doing. Daryl lectures him about how he shouldn't need to sell it to Merle, why he didn't want to give Lydia back, with what their life was back when they were younger. Later, Henry escapes to go and get Lydia back. Daryl finds out and he goes to get him with Connie. They arrive back late and Merle looks like he was about to leave to go and find them. Merle asks, what took you so long? Lydia says, Beta. He looks at Daryl all roughed up and laughs that he was beaten up by someone called Beta. They all agree to have the trade fair at the Kingdom. Daryl, Merle, Carol, Michonne and Magnus' group, apart from Luke, leave the fair. They come across the two main highwaymen, Ozzy and Alec, and that former saviour DJ, investigating a Hilltop couple's wagon who have gone missing. They split up, leaving just Daryl, Carol, Michonne and Merle. Their tracks lead them to a dead end, and the Whisperers ambush.
Oh, okay, so
when
then they
Merle
get
sees
captured.
Beta, he understands the fight. He gets a bit nervous around Beta, and it's unnerving to see him like that. Alpha takes Daryl up on that cliff to show him the herd.
Yep.
He comes back and they find Sadiq tied to a tree as he points up to the top
And then
of the
we
hill.
see
Merle's
the
reaction
heads.
to the Pikes would be amazing. He'd be so concerned. He'd be in disbelief. Daryl, Merle and Michonne help the people of the Kingdom move to the Hilltop during the snowstorm.
That would be also pretty interesting to see Merle's reaction to the Pikes.
Need to get off the roads. Find shelter between here and the next way station.
You have a place in mind?
Yeah.
Merle says they can stop off at the sanctuary for shelter.
Hold up. Not too many at once. Not too many at once.
They deliver them to Hilltop, and then they go back to Alexandria, where Merle joins in on the snowball fight. In the season 10 premiere, we see Merle behind Daryl, mocking the idea of them all training, but still helps out with the issues of this episode. I would love to see him sort of being a sarcastic, bad influence to Carol, who at this point, after Henry was killed, has started to take Breaking
Yeah, I could
Bad
see him doing
drops.
that.
Merle would jokingly ask for some and make fun of her, but out of all of it, tells her that she should stop taking them, showing how far he's come. When Dante kills Sadiq, Merle asks why they don't just kill him already, but of course this would be a negotiation between the others. They don't really listen to Merle. He asks out loud what the whole point of him even being there is. Because of this, he doesn't join the group in looking for Lydia, so he isn't with them when they fall into Alpha's cave. When Gamma arrives at Alexandria, telling them Alpha has trapped them in the cave with the Horde, Merle gets
Merle
upset
goes
and
after him.
immediately wants them all to go out and get them. Rosita says they can't trust her yet, but Gabriel surprisingly agrees with Merle.
The sooner they drop the act, which is what it is.
Yeah.
He smiles and is almost entertained by it and leaves with Gabriel's group. But of course, so many of their fighters leaving was all part of Beta's plan, and he infiltrates
to draw 'em out.
Alexandria and takes Gamma back.
Oh,
They
I
catch
forgot
them
that was
leaving,
so
and they get Gamma
creepy.
back. Merle
That
runs
was such a
after
good
them, saying,
scene
"What have you done to my brother?"
of
but
Beta
he
just
loses him.
tunneling
Alpha and the
into
Whisperers attack
Alexandria.
Hilltop, and I find myself saying this every What If video. It would be a million times better with Merle there. Hilltop falls and they have to flee. Michonne leaves to find Rick. It's revealed Carol got Negan to kill Alpha. Beta attacks and they defeat the Whisperers as they did. Maggie comes back. I don't usually include the Reapers because it's insulting.
You have to make sure they don't come back.
Oh yeah, would the Reapers even be
But,
around?
as we spoke about, Merle had a lot to say about Daryl, searching endlessly for Rick, and would have the same reaction to find out that while he was looking for Rick, he was with this Leah character. Awful.
He found a side
I
piece.
still can't believe they did that. Eugene brings Lance to Alexandria and the Commonwealth arc begins. This is them at civilization again. Merle feels threatened. After all they've been through, they just
Merle's
lean
definitely
into
out of
these
place.
people this easily. It feels way too much like the normal world before, where Merle was just a high biker, a drifter. When the Commonwealth arrives at Alexandria to review the place, he feels they're being invasive. Daryl's introducing them, he's trying to get them on board, but he doesn't like, as he said, these rich folks taking over. Something about Merle is, no matter how many times he's with and helping the group, no matter how many friends and family he's got, he will always feel rejected from society. So when they join the Commonwealth and it feels much more like a society, he causes trouble. He wants to take over. And the thing with this is, he's not wrong. A big thing that I think was definitely more established in the comics is Pamela and the rest of the Miltons are all on their own estate. With him here, he would be speaking up. and being extremely destructive. He tells Daryl and says they should take over. Daryl reprimands him for it. There's later a big scuffle with Merle and some guards. They threaten to take him in, and he lets them and ends up in a cell. When he gets out, it's just after Sebastian has been exposed. He goes to talk with Negan and says they can both give people what they want and both be seen as heroes. He says they should both kill Sebastian.
I'm surprised you lasted this long.
You am. Oh, you know who I am?
Do you know who I
Later
am?
meet with Daryl and Carol. Merle is ranting
This
about
would be
how
an
he
interesting
keeps trying
arc.
to take over and to make sure everyone is equal. Carol says she's worried he may make a mistake. Before he can erupt, Daryl stops him and says they can all work together. Carol agrees and says she's glad to hear that from him, and that's why she's invited Pamela. Pamela walks out, clearly told to come here by Lance, escorted by some guards. She's been listening from the hallway. She said she's happy that Daryl and Carol are on the same page, but Merle will just have to go. Carol looks at Lance as if to express she's surprised that all these guards are here with them, as it escalates everything. This wasn't part of their agreement, but Pamela's heard Merle's suggestions and there's no way she's gonna let him stick around. Merle starts pointing at Carol and shouting, "So you set this up? You've joined them?" He has one last angry rant. Michael Rooker would do this great monologue while Pamela
I'm sure he
stops
would.
it and orders
Hands
his
down.
arrest. Daryl shouts for him to stop, but Merle pulls out his gun, aims it at Pamela, and Daryl shoots Merle. He got to live through the events of the show. He helped out his people. He grew stronger with Daryl, redeemed himself multiple times. As they got to a civilization in the final stage of the show, they had to make sacrifices to ensure they took advantage of this opportunity. It's not that Merle was wrong, it's that getting to that point where they can get rid of corruption in the Commonwealth requires time and being civilized. They can't carry on the ways of the apocalypse. Daryl did this to stop Merle from killing the governor and having all of his people exiled, to show that's not the way. So yeah, I think Merle would get comic Dwight's story, especially with Merle being a former saviour under Negan's boot. After a fight against a Walker herd under the Commonwealth itself,
So
they
Merle
blow
would
up
still
Pamela's
die.
estate. Pamela is imprisoned the better way. But you might be thinking, if Daryl had to kill Merle to protect Pamela, then surely that's not showing the better way. Kill? I just said shot. Merle is in prison, where he will be for a while, as he was in the world before. As they're in a civilization again, he's back in there. But I'll let you decide that last.
So he'd be kind of like in prison like Negan was.
So this is what I think would happen if Merle Dixon survived. What do you think? Do you agree with this timeline I've created? Do you prefer what just happened in the show? What would you want to see from him? And what character do you want me to do a what if on next? Let me know what you think down below. And of course, press the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.
Merle never did nothing like that his whole life.
Gave us a chance.
Okay, so there we go. What would have happened, I guess? What if Merle Dixon survived? That would be a very interesting storyline, not gonna lie. I definitely would have been down for that. So we still would have been like a little bit of an outcast and stuff like that. Still never would have like fully fit in and stuff. But he still would have, you know, been there for Daryl and stuff like that. Some of those scenes actually would have been really interesting. Like I was saying, like after the prison fell, Merle, Daryl, and Beth all going off together and stuff like that, and then the whole scene with like that you know, that house and, you know, stuff like that. That would have been very interesting too. Yeah, then the Negan stuff. So he would have taken the place of like Carlin, a couple of things there, you know, going off to the hilltop, you know, shooting at the guys in the truck from the truck and stuff like that. So that would have been pretty interesting. Yeah, the whole whispers and stuff like that would have been a very interesting arc to see as well. Man, it's just so much fun to, you know, what if one of these characters just survived? You know, what would have changed? What would have been different and stuff like that? And yeah, it would have been very interesting. So Merle would have been in the lineup as well. Yeah, would have been really interesting. You know, still would have liked to seen Judith and Merle interactions. That would have been kind of interesting, because the Judith and Negan interactions are always a blast. Those are always fun. Language, mister. So yeah, it just would have been very interesting if Merle survived. But let me know, what do you guys think? Do you think it would have played out like this if Merle survived, or do you think he just would have been too much of a wild card? Do you know? Let me know. let me know what you guys think. But yeah, if there's any other videos you guys want me to check out, because I know there's a couple of more and stuff like that, and I think I saw one right up here that I wanted to check out.
For a while, as he was in the
what was it? How will? Whoops. I think it was how. Yeah, see, there's still a few more I want to watch. What if Rick didn't leave? What if Abraham survived? Oh, there it is. How Daryl Dixon, Morgan, and Negan will Oh, this is probably an old video. Yeah, how will Daryl Dixon, Morgan, and Negan reunite with Rick? Something. I might have to check that one out, but I don't know. Maybe that's gonna be. That would have been, you know, how will those three reunite? Maybe in the Rick show, you know. But I don't know. Maybe I'll take a look at it. But yeah, other than that, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love these alternate timelines and kind of what would have happened, you know, what would have happened. But yeah, anyways, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. That'd be awesome. Remember, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media. Links in the description box below. And other than that, yeah, just stick around. More videos are on the way. And I will see you guys next time.